You may be seated. Thanksgiving quoted a comedian named Johnny Carson. That time of year when people travel thousands of miles to be with those they only see once a year, only to discover that once a year is way too much. It could be argued that there's so much social anxiety at this time of year as there is turkey on the Thanksgiving table, as a COVID resurgent holiday season amps up our already rising stress levels. With the food, with the decorations, will they be enough? Will the clothing and conversations be okay? Will I get everything done properly and on time? What about these rising prices? Will this actually be an occasion of holiday joy and Thanksgiving? And what of our national anxiety? With Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty, sure, he may have been defending himself, but his vigilantism now condoned. Then there's the guilty verdicts in the Ahmaud Arbery case, and an illuminating statement from one of the defendant's lawyers, perhaps you heard it, Jason Sheffield, said this: "It's a very difficult day for my clients, the McMichaels," adding that they honestly believe what they were doing was the right thing to do. And how peaceful can we sleep at night, especially people of color, knowing that some people don't see anything wrong with how Ahmaud Arbery died. Amidst this personal and this communal uneasiness, you and I come to church this morning. Happy New Year. It's the first Sunday of Advent, the first Sunday of the liturgical year, and we hear a gospel that is no less alarming about a distressed earth, a confused nation, a calamitous creation. And yet, amidst all this, we hear Jesus' voice. Jesus is not going to leave us with dire predictions and with horrendous consequences. No, here's what Jesus tells us to do in this situation. Be on guard, he says, so that your hearts are not weighed down, as if his advice for the tumult all around him that he was seeing, to the disciples and the tumult around them that they were seeing, and you and I around the tumult around us that we are really seeing, is this: take a step back, chill out. God has not left the building. Be patient. Patience, of course, one of the big themes of Lent. Patience. Henry Nouwen, a writer that many of us like, said that this is patience. It's a desert. It's the desert between where we are and where we want to be. It's a long and lonely desert. As musician Tom Petty put it, the waiting is the hardest part. And while we usually don't have a choice but to wait, folks, we do have a choice over the manner in which we do wait. We can stew and sulk and simmer and grow anxious and stressed and depressed, or we can do our best to let it go, leave it be, and have faith, trusting that God is near and things will somehow work themselves out. So the word for the day is patience that we see here in the gospel, but I think it needs to be coupled with a word that we hear from 1 Thessalonians in our second lesson that Edna read for us, which is give thanks to God, be thankful, harbor gratitude. So that our word for the day is actually two words: patience and gratitude. These are two very helpful words for getting through the holiday season and this tense season in our personal and communal lives. Patience and gratitude and patience, because the practice of one leads to another. Be patient, and while you're waiting, count your blessings. Be grateful, and as we spend time counting our blessings, we find that the time in the waiting room can go by much more quickly. I wonder if you could humor me for a moment and just close your eyes where you are. Close your eyes and think of one thing right now in your life that needs your patience. Maybe you're fighting a sickness you wish was over. Maybe you're waiting for a check that's taken its time coming. Maybe you're stuck in a job or in some situation that you just see no way out of. Yeah, you're in the desert, that space between where you are and where you want to be. Now begin to list the blessings that you have in your life. Certainly there are relationships, people who love and care about you. Certainly there's knowledge, there are books and classes and ways that you're learning that help you grow in knowledge, in awareness. Certainly there are experiences. Think about it, from childbirth to vacations to that job that you got to birthdays to anniversaries. Imagine spanning the long, hot, and lonely desert of waiting with these blessings as our suitcases, as they help us get from where we are to where we want to be. Go ahead and open your eyes as we think about gratitude and patience. As Jesus suggests, we can grow in them. And to help us do that, we have two things for you today. And throughout this Advent season, the first is a booklet. Maybe you saw them on your way in. Definitely grab one on your way out. We ordered a number of them, so you can grab more than one if you know somebody who'd use it. It's called Living Well Through Advent, Practicing Patience. It's put together by a friend of mine, Scott Stoner. And every day in Advent, starting today, we can go ahead and read a page in the morning or a page in the evening, whenever. It's just one page a day. And our prayer is that as we learn more and more how to practice patience, how to trust God who gives us the way out, the way around, or the way through. Isn't that how God usually takes us? He gives us the way out, the way around, or the way through. We can be patient for God to do God's work. Don't you wish God worked on your time? God, I want it now. I know better than you. But no, that's what Advent's here for, to remind us and to help encourage us to be patient. Little girl and her father, they went to visit grandma over the holiday. They went to the train station. Dad bought a couple of tickets. Little girl said, "Give me my ticket." Dad said, "No, I'm not going to give it to you right now because you're a little girl and you just might lose it." Sure enough, half hour later, a train pulled right up. Little girl and her father, they got online to get on that train. That little girl, right beside her dad, walked right up to the conductor, and right before she got to the conductor, he handed her ticket. He got on the train, she got on the train. God doesn't always give us everything we need way ahead of time, but God usually gives us what we need on time. Our second word, of course, is gratitude, not just for today or for this season, but in 2022. In this liturgical year, we are going to be encouraging one another to be especially thankful. 2022 at St. David's is our year of gratitude. We're going to be encouraging one another to look for God's blessings all around us. If you were here for Thanksgiving or saw our Thanksgiving, I guess we call it a broadcast, I guess it's these Zoom things, you heard me talk about a monk who likes to quantify gratitude with these three words: stop, look, and go. And those are three good steps to remember as we want to live a life of gratitude. The first, stop. Second, look around, grateful for, and then go with the knowledge of that gratitude. By pondering reflectively the events in our lives, the people, the circumstances, knowing that sometimes things happen for which we may not initially be thankful, but may later discover something positive in them. After all, psychological study after psychological study shows us that grateful people are healthier. Grateful people cope better with adversity. Grateful people actually live longer than people who are not intentionally grateful. Because when we're grateful, we are more present and we are more alive. This is what Christianity is about, folks, right? Making us alive to the glorious experience of living. It's about discovering the abundance all around us of relationships, of experiences, of possessions, both material and spiritual. And to do that, we have a rather kitschy challenge for you. You went past these as you walked in, these cute little bracelets. Now, I didn't really get the Detroit Lions colors on purpose. I wanted St. David's blue. And then I thought, when you wear this for a while, if it's white, it's going to get a little grimy. So I got gray. Okay. So we got a whole bunch of these, and they simply say gratitude on it. Take one, take more than one for friends or for people you know, because we invite you to put it on your right wrist or in your right pocket, okay? Every morning, put it on your right wrist and your right pocket, and we're going to be using this to reward our own gratitudes. And what I mean by that is we want to see everyone here go 21 days without complaining. Okay, without complaining. I had a debate with this by somebody who left at 8 o'clock. They're like, I don't complain. I just tell facts. I just tell facts. And so I said, well, that's true. Honey, do I look fat in this, right? Are you going to tell a fact? And so what I invite you to do with these is to use this to remind you to look through a lens of gratitude. What I mean by that is that glass, believe me, it is half empty, no question about it. But through a lens of gratitude, that glass is half full. Was that a horrible salad you just ate? Well, yeah, but through a lens of gratitude, you had a salad when so many millions and millions of people in the world don't get a meal, right? So during this time, we want to reward your gratitude. So put it on your right wrist, put it on in your right pocket if you don't wear jewelry. And if you do complain, you have to say 2 gratitudes. Stop yourself, say 2 things out loud you're grateful for. Then transfer that wristband to the other pocket or to the other wrist. You got to start all over again the next day because you got to keep it on the one wrist for 21 days straight. Don't look so glum you have all year. And I know some of you are already going to ask for 2 wristbands, 1 for each wrist, so you're going to go back and forth. But we ordered a lot extra, so go ahead and take some from maybe some people that you want to suggest that this might be helpful for them. And while this admittedly sounds rather hokey, forming a more grateful heart is not. Finding ways to be less complaining is not. Working to be a people who lift up and don't tear down is not. We all know how divisive and angry and rude the world around us has become. And we Christians are called to be the solution, not the problem, not the complainers, but those who are thankful. We do this by growing in gratitude. After all, we all know that everything is a gift. And the degree to which we are aware of this is a measure of our own gratitude, as our own gratitude is a measure of our aliveness. And that's what the gospel's about, is calling us to be more alive, more aware of the blessings that surround us. I can't wait through these first couple of weeks, but then in the months, I want to hear your stories. I want to hear you tell me how this attitude of gratitude, this lens of gratitude, these wristbands perhaps have affected you or people that you know and love. The journey with Jesus is one of aliveness, increased awareness, joyful awareness of who we are and why we are here. 2 policemen are on patrol in their squad car, and they smash into a tree. After a long pause, one officer says to the other, "Wow, that's the fastest I've ever arrived at an accident scene." Now, when you and I think about the word accident, that's usually what we think about, isn't it? We usually think of accidents as bad things. It's when we smashed the car, tripped, skinned our knee, dropped the glass of wine, emptying the dishwasher. When we think about accidents, we think about bad accidents. But there are also good accidents. In fact, we're surrounded by good accidents, too many to mention. Can you think of the good accident you had when you were born in the zip code you were born in? It's a happy accident that we were born, who, when, and where we were born. It's a happy accident to have the friends that we have around us. Some of us we met by accident. It's a happy accident to have the families that we have, to have the jobs that we have, to have a chance to read and speak and connect, and to be surrounded by opportunities with so many others who can only dream about the happy accidents that we have had in our lives. I know many of us heard the story this week of Jamal, Hinson, and Wanda Dench. 6 years ago, Wanda, she's a white grandma, and she texted her grandson to invite him over to Thanksgiving dinner. However, Wanda's grandson changed phone number, never told her. And so Wanda goes ahead and texts a total stranger, a young African-American man named Jamal. Well, after they figure out the mistake, they just laughed about it. Jamal said, "Hey, can I still come over for Thanksgiving?" And she says, "Why, sure." Well, 3 days ago, Wanda and Jamal's girlfriend got together for the 6th consecutive Thanksgiving. That's a happy accident, isn't it? It's a way to remind us that we have so much in life for which to give thanks. And by busying ourselves with the many, many things for which we rightly give thanks, we find that the desert between where we are and where we want to be is much easier to cross than we might have thought.